So after following the ketogenic diet for 2 years, I decided to make the jump to carnivore, at least temporarily. And after doing this for a week, I wanted to give you an update. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I love about it, things I don't love so much about it, and then also give you a weight update or weight loss update as well. So if you're curious if I finally broke through this weight loss plateau, stick around because that's coming up next. What's up everybody, Steve here, and I wanted to come to you today from outside. It's a beautiful day out here in Central Florida, and I just decided to take things outdoors and get some nice weather in, and also give you an update on how things have been going since I started this keto to carnivore experiment. So the first thing is if you didn't catch my last video about why I'm jumping to carnivore, I would encourage you to watch that video first. I'm going to put a link to it down in the description, and then also, actually I think it would be over here, one of the sides, you'll see it. Click on that video, catch up as to why I'm doing this. I would encourage you to watch that first and then come back and catch this. So let's get into my experience so far. As of this recording, this is officially day 8 of my carnivore diet journey. I can tell you that I have eaten at or below 5 grams of total carbs a day. Some cases lower than that. In fact, there might have been even a day or two there that was at 0. And we're talking total carbs, not net carbs. So it's pretty funny because the first couple of days were really hard. Like I haven't been eating non-keto carbs in quite a long time, and yet still those first couple of days I had some pretty high cravings. I was like really wanting even a bunch of keto treats, which I hadn't really been craving before. I'd indulged in some, but haven't been craving them. And those first couple of days, I was really having some pretty high cravings. Now, I will say I'm almost positive it's because of this highly restrictive nature of this diet. When we're talking about a diet that's made up primarily of like meat, eggs, and fish, things can get boring really fast. Now, I gotta be honest with you, because I wasn't planning on doing this permanently, I'm fairly certain that if I'd have done a lot more research, that I probably could have found much better meal plans, a lot more variety. But because I knew it was going to be short term, I just wanted to keep things as simple as possible. So I just dove in with the basics, meats, eggs, fish, and maybe 1 or 2 other little things. Now I bring up the cravings because it's a little bit different than what it was on keto. When I was making the shift from the standard American diet to keto, it was white knuckling it the whole time, trying to overcome those cravings. But the nice thing that's been so far about carnivore is, and maybe it's because I've been doing keto for so long, is that yes, the cravings were there, but I felt like I could overcome them pretty easily. And I think it's just because I've been used to being disciplined in my eating, and my blood sugar spikes haven't been so high and low like they were with the standard American diet. So I would say this, that if you struggle with cravings and you've done the keto for a while, I think while you may still experience the things that I did, I think you'll be able to overcome it as well. The one thing I don't want you to overcome is that overwhelming desire to destroy the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so let's dive into the pros and cons of what I've experienced so far. So one thing is that I haven't experienced hardly any stomach issues at all, like no bloating, no gas, no constipation, which I will say, if you've read some stories online, you see that that's not the norm. It seems like the first couple of weeks for most people, while I will say I had to do the clinched sprint to the bathroom once, that was the exception, not the rule, thankfully. But so far, my stomach has, for the first time in a long time, has felt, like there's no gas bubble in there waiting to explode. Now, one benefit so far has been the easy or simple meal planning, at least for me. I mean, I go to the store, throw some meat, eggs, fattier chicken stuff into the thing, bring it home, throw it onto the grill a bunch of it at once, throw it in the fridge, and then anytime I need something, pull it out, throw it in the microwave, and I'm done. So there's not any long-term planning, at least for me right now, and that's been a really big benefit. Another benefit that I want to talk about is the continued anti-inflammatory nature of this diet. For those of you that have watched any of my content, you've heard me talk about the reason why I love keto so much is because it's a very anti-inflammatory way of eating, and that I experienced huge drops in inflammation in my body, from joints to conditions inside my body, all those kind of things, which was great. But coming into carnivore, I've even experienced it even more, which is pretty incredible. I mean, I never really felt like I was living in inflammation anyway, but even those slight, small little things that I still experienced on keto have pretty much disappeared while I've been on carnivore. Now remember, carnivore is an elimination diet. You're pretty much going down to the very, very basics, which is likely why I'm not experiencing any other even mild inflammation. But just keep that in mind, that one of the things that most people will do when they do carnivore is they will jump onto it and cut out everything else that should be there. But when they go back to eating even a moderately healthy diet, they're still going to experience some flare-ups. And so one of the things that usually is recommended is to try to add things back slowly into your diet. See which things impact you and which things don't, and then decide if you want to keep those as a regular part of your diet going forward or not. All right, let's move into the cons. And the first one really has been, so far, the biggest con has been the limitation in the styles of food, or the different food types, I guess. Again, I love steak and eggs, but I'm wondering if I'm still going to love them as much, a month down the road. You guys have heard me talk about before, if you've watched any of my other content, that food boredom can be one of the things that sabotages our diets. And so it is something that I would be concerned about if I was planning on doing this for a very long period of time. I don't know if I'd be able to do that, at least keeping things the way they are right now. In fact, hey, if you're watching this and you've done carnivore before, and you may have a bunch of, things that you experience where you get lots of food varieties and things like that, please drop a comment down below. Let me know some ideas. Okay, so the next con that I will talk about is its effect on my workouts so far. I always work out fasted. I have been for a long period of time, pretty much since I started doing keto, and really started doing exercise a lot. In the beginning, I didn't do a lot of exercise, but when I started doing exercise, I started doing it fasted because I just felt better. I hated having a bunch of food, or even a little bit of food in my stomach while I was trying to do lifting and all this other kind of stuff. One thing I will say is that I'm pretty much hitting a wall like I haven't hit in a long time. So I'm going along fine, feeling pretty strong, and then bam, my strength just goes and I feel like I'm fully depleted. Now I know, or have a pretty good idea, that that's because I'm finally depleting all of my glycogen stores, because I'm not getting pretty much any carbs. But it is something to be aware of. So the last con that I want to talk about is loneliness and despair. Okay, so I'm being a little bit over dramatic, but one of the things that I talked about in the beginning was I started keto by myself. The rest of my family didn't do it, and you can feel kind of lonely, right? You can feel kind of on your own. I will tell you that this has reminded me what that felt like, because most of you know my wife's been doing keto with me for a long time. But watching people, eat even keto stuff, it makes me feel, oh my gosh, I feel so isolated and so alone. That can be derogatory to yourself if you're someone that really needs that type of support. Or if you feel like, if other people are eating things that you shouldn't be, or whatever else, if that's going to be a difficult thing for you, you need to be aware of that, prepare for it, and then make a plan to be able to get around that as your family or friends or whoever you're around eats whatever they're going to normally eat. Now, I know over time I'm going to probably end up with more pros and cons, but just after a week, these are the major ones that kind of stood out to me. All right, so now it's time to move on to the part that I'm sure most of you are watching this for, which is my weight loss update. Did it help? Did I break through the plateau? Is it doing anything at all for my weight loss? So for context, I do want to say this, that over the last 10 to 12 weeks, I've been staying really strict keto, working out really hard, and my weight has kind of fluctuated within 3 to 5 pounds, meaning it might go down a pound or two, and then all of a sudden it's back up a pound or two. And most recently, like within the last couple of weeks prior to starting carnivore, it had even gone up another few pounds. Which was a little bit discouraging, and that's actually why I decided to kind of start the carnivore experiment to begin with. But that's what my weight has been like over the last about 3 months. So what are my results after being 7 days on carnivore? I've lost almost 6 pounds. And by the way, that's without being hungry, without being starved, without feeling deprived other than the types of foods I would normally eat. That's being very satiated for that entire time. Lost almost 6 pounds. Now, I'm super excited and stoked about that, but at the same time, I don't want to blow this out of proportion. I am not declaring an end to the plateau just yet because, as always, when we make a big change, there can be a lot of water weight loss and other things like that. I want to give it a little bit more time before I declare an end to the plateau. The other half of it is, again, I have been working out really hard for the last several months. Maybe my body's just finally catching up and shedding some of that weight. But whatever the case is, it's pretty exciting, but I don't want to get overzealous about it yet. Now, I want to make sure and remind everybody, please, your health and well-being should never be dictated by a number on the scale. I just know that for me, I don't know what the number will end up being for me, right? I mean, I have some goals in mind about things that I might get to. I might reach them, I may not. But at the same time, I just know that I wasn't where I wanted to be just yet, so I wanted to make a change. I just know that after gaining almost 30 pounds over that 8-month period of time due to COVID and depression and all the other stuff that was going on, it was just super exciting to see the scale moving down again. So if you're enjoying this and you want to make sure that you hear the rest of the updates, again, I'm going to try to, I mentioned in my first video that my initial goal was 2 to 4 weeks, and I'm going to be coming up on that here in a little while. If you want to make sure and not miss any of those updates, I want to encourage you to please head over to my channel, click on subscribe, and then the little bell icon to turn on notifications. And then, as always, please destroy the like button. You have no idea the impact it can make on a small channel of mine. It's for the YouTube algorithm. Once they see that a lot of people like the content, they start to push it out to other new audiences. And I'd love to get this video in front of other people that might need the encouragement. But no matter what, I want to thank you for your time, and I will see you in the next video.